This video is sponsored by PTCGLstore.com, a great place for you to buy Pokemon TCG code cards. Please remember to use my code KNIGHT22 at checkout so that you can get a 5% discount. Before going into the video, please take a second to click that like button, and we're on the road to getting 9,000 subscribers to this channel, so please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for all of your support, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content I put out in this channel. In today's video, I'll be showcasing Garchomp EX from the Paradox Rift expansion set. Garchomp EX is a stage 2 terrestrialized Pokemon with 320 HP, and this time Garchomp is a water type instead of its typical fighting type. And it also has 0 retreat cost, making it a very effective pivot. Garchomp EX has 2 awesome attacks. The first one is Hydro Lander. For just a single fighting energy, this attack deals 160 damage, after which you have to attach at least 1 and up to 3 basic fighting energy from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. This attack is so powerful because it only requires 1 energy, and you can use it to accelerate more energies to your Pokemon. Its second attack is Sonic Dive. For 2 colorless energy, you discard 2 energy from this Pokemon, and this attack deals 120 damage to any one of your opponent's Pokemon. This is great for bench sniping. While this is a stage 2 Pokemon, as long as you have Gible in play, you can use Irida to search your deck for Garchomp EX, which is a water type Pokemon, and 1 item card for the rare candy, so you can easily evolve it into Garchomp EX. Because this Pokemon can accelerate energy, it pairs really well with this Lucario with the Roaring Resolve ability. Once during your turn, put 2 damage counters on this Pokemon, after which you can search your deck for 1 basic fighting energy and attach it to this Pokemon. You can stack a lot of energies to this Pokemon so that you can deal big damage. And it's all thanks to its super strong attack, Aura Sphere Volley. Starting with 2 fighting energies, you discard all basic fighting energy from this Pokemon, and this attack will deal 10 plus damage and an additional 60 more damage for each energy you discarded this way. This attack is so powerful that it has the potential to knock out any Pokemon in the game. As for my other attacker, I also added 1 copy of Slitherwing. This card is great because it has such an awesome stat. First off, it has 140 HP, and it can attack with Burning Turbulence, which only costs 2 fighting energy. It can deal 120 damage, and it also inflicts the burn special condition on your opponent's active Pokemon. However, this attack also deals 90 damage to itself. Bibarel will be my main draw engine, and I also have this Jirachi with a Stellar Veil ability. This prevents all damage counters from being placed on your bench Pokemon by effects of attacks used by your opponent's basic Pokemon. This is a good counter to the Lost Zone Sableye. I really wanted this build to be disruptive, so I have a bunch of Path to the Peak Stadium in this build, which turns off all abilities of Pokemon with rule box on them. And I also have a few Averys. This forces your opponent to discard their benched Pokemon until they only have 3 left. Next is a couple of Tool Jammers. If the Pokemon with this equipped is in the active spot, it will turn off the effect of your opponent's active Pokemon's tool card. Especially with the new Ancient and Future mechanics that utilizes a lot of powerful tool cards, this is a great way for countering those matchups. There are other cards you may choose to include in this deck as alternatives, such as the new Groudon, more for its attack Magma Purge. For 2 fighting and 1 colorless, this attack deals anywhere from 60 to 240 damage depending on how many energies you discard from your Pokemon. And I also tried out Galarian Zapdos because its Zapper Kick can paralyze, but since it only deals 70 damage, it can be a bit awkward to use, but it's a good option. And finally, I did end up just removing Cheryl from this build because I didn't really see myself using it in a lot of the games, but it's great for fully healing your evolution Pokemon. This build is actually within competitive level in my opinion, and I'm surprised no one is using this more. One thing you just have to watch out for is to always account for how many energies you have left, and you should always make sure you have your recovery items handy. Other than that, this deck is actually really good. Anyways, that's pretty much it. You can find the complete deck list in the description below. Now please enjoy the following gameplay videos showcasing Garchomp EX. Alright, on to our first match. We are going first, and we're gonna start this with a Riolu in the active spot. And judging from my opponent's sleeve, I feel like this is a Roaring Moon EX matchup. So going first actually is pretty dangerous because now my opponent can attack on their very first turn going second. So we do have to set up a basic Pokemon on our bench to ensure our survival for the remainder of this game. So I'll just sacrifice Boss's Orders and Avery. Iono can get us more cards next turn, and definitely our consistency engine is the priority. So I'm going to get a Bidoof and just end my turn. They might knock out my Riolu, but at least we'll have another turn to set up more basics and hopefully set up our Garchomp EX. So my opponent is going to start with the Luminion V in the active spot. They probably set that up first before getting that Brute Bonnet from the mulligan that we had. But now they have Roaring Moon EX set up, and also Radiant Greninja, and another Battle VIP pass. So now they have a full bench, along with Squawkabilly EX and more Peko, which is a great pivot. And this Pokestop is pretty strong. They have the Cross Switcher combo here, and they're gonna go for the Bidoof. Oh no. So if they manage to fully energize their Roaring Moon EX, they could knock out our Bidoof, but at least that will leave our Riolu alive, and we could even attack if we can evolve it. So Squawkabilly will use its ability, Squawk and Seize, to discard their entire hand and then draw 6, which is pretty powerful. That also discards energies, and if they can draw into those dark patches, they can accelerate energies more to their Roaring Moon, and they even got Professor Sada's Vitality, putting energies to their Brute Bonnet and Roaring Moon. So now all they have to do is get one more energy, and more Peko can retreat without an energy on it, so they can just pivot out. Roaring Moon can attack, and it doesn't take much to knock out Bidoof, because even if they don't discard this stadium, they can still deal 100 damage with Roaring Moon EX's second attack. Ancient Booster Energy Capsule will go onto Brute Bonnet, allowing it to poison both active Pokemon, which is pretty unnecessary, but given that they pivot out and then put Brute Bonnet in the active, they couldn't find the energy to attack, so we survive. Alright, Hisuian Heavy Ball gets us Riolu. We have some pretty important cards in there, but setting up 2 Riolus is actually pretty good here. Let me go ahead and use their Pokestop. Got a Super Rod, and we discarded Squovit and an energy, which is fine. We can recover those energies once we evolve into or set up our Garchomp EX. And we got 2 Lucarios available to us, and even a Bibarel. Look at that. I might just have to retreat Bidoof first before evolving into Bibarel, because Bibarel has 2 retreat costs as opposed to Bidoof having only 1. And I'm just gonna put Lucario in the active spot. We can attack and even knock out this Brute Bonnet, but we'll have to draw into an energy. Oh, we already attached one, didn't we? So Roaring Resolve will get us 1 extra energy from our deck and attach it to Lucario, but unfortunately we're only dealing 130 damage to this Brute Bonnet, which is fine. It's close to being knocked out. It's all thanks to that energy capsule giving it 60 more HP. So it is actually within knockout range already. I mean, if we get Tool Jammer, we could turn off its tool card, and then it will just knock it out, right? Once we knock it out, we can attack again next turn. So we'll have 2 knockouts. So my opponent will now get another energy capsule onto their Roaring Moon EX, putting it to 290 HP. Professor Sada's Vitality gives 2 of their Pokemon, ancient Pokemon energies. Now Brute Bonnet can actually attack and get a knockout here, since it now has 3 energies, and it's dealing enough damage to knock out our Lucario. There's the knockout. My opponent will get their first prize. And I think I will just promote my Riolu, evolve it into Lucario, and we got a rare candy. Dude, if we can find Ultra Ball. If I use Iono, let me use Bibarel first. Maybe we'll draw into Garchomp. Dude, there's an Ultra Ball. I could use that. Let me go ahead and Let's see. I could use Super Rod, but then I'll need Rare Candy. I could sacrifice Super Rod, I guess. That way it can evolve into Garchomp EX this turn. And then I can use a Yono to draw into more cards. So let me just evolve into one Garchomp EX at least. Use a Yono, and that will disrupt my opponent's hand as well. That 8 card hand will be reduced to 5. And we draw 6. And we got a Tool Jammer, look at that. And that will turn off their tool card and instantly knock out their Brute Bonnet because that extra HP was nullified. And it just exactly 130 HP was taken from it, instantly knocking it out. So now we can even knock out this Morpeko. So we'll be ahead in the price exchange here once we knock out this Morpeko, and then they'll attack with their Roaring Moon EX, and that is fine. So we're gonna just use Roaring Resolve to get another energy, just so we can attack. So with Lucario, you actually need to have 2 fighting energies to attack. So our Sphere Volley will deal 130 damage, knocking out their Morpeko, getting us another prize, and that they will lose their pivot Pokemon. So Morpeko's the only one that has a free retreat as of this point, and they will promote their Roaring Moon EX in the active spot. And all they need to do is just use its second attack, not even discard this stadium to knock out our Lucario. But that's okay. Once we attack with Garchomp EX, even if they use their gouging attack to deal an instant knockout to Garchomp, that will cause a double knockout because it deals 200 damage to their Roaring Moon EX as well. But yeah, the disruption aspect of this build is actually pretty good. Okay, well, they still discarded the stadium. Probably they figured that we might put it to use, so we got Path to the Peak from our top deck, and that's actually really good. That will turn off their Radiant Greninja. Let me just get Garchomp EX. We have Rare Candy, so we can evolve into another one if we need to. And let me go ahead and use Path to the Peak. Recover our at least one Lucario line and 1 energy. One thing you have to remember with this deck is that if you discard too many energies and then you don't account for it, even if you have Garchomp EX and you don't have energy to attack, it's gonna be useless and you can't recover any energies that way. So you have to really watch out for that. I'm gonna go ahead and use Palpad to recover boss orders at least, because we might have to snipe one of their Pokemon to win this one. I'll just go ahead and evolve Garchomp EX, and then just thinning out my hand so I can use Industrious Incisors for 4. And there's a Riolu, okay. And we're just gonna use Hydro Lander to deal 160 damage to this Roaring Moon EX, and then I'm gonna accelerate 3. I guess I could put 1 to Slitherwing. That way it's gonna be ready to attack. All we need to do is attach 1 energy onto it, then it can attack and even finish off a Roaring Moon EX. So if they use the instant knockout, even with a full HP 1 in the bench, that's gonna reduce its HP down. We can just use our Slitherwing to knock one out. And of all the basic Pokemon that I was looking for, Slitherwing is actually really good. Although it deals damage to itself, the 2 energy attack is really good for 120 damage. Alright, so there's the instant knockout from my opponent's Roaring Moon EX, leaving it with 30 HP remaining. But now we can use Slitherwing to knock it out and still survive an attack. We could use boss orders probably next turn, and they still need 2 prizes. If they have boss orders, they will kill their Roaring Moon EX in the process. Probably not need any other basic Pokemon on my bench here. So, I mean, I could still use Irida. But let me just draw 2 cards with Bibarel first. We got Gible again. And that's not too bad. I don't really need to... I mean, I could set up another Garchomp EX, but I don't think it's really that necessary. Because it's all or nothing in the next few turns at this point. My opponent only needs 2 more prizes to go. All they need to do is knock out our Garchomp EX to win this one. But that will kill one of their Roaring Moon EX in the process as well. And that's gonna get us to sudden death if they do that. For now, I'll just... Let's see, let me discard Garchomp. Yes, like I said, I probably will not evolve into another one, so I'm just using this Ultra Ball to get a Lucario. That way we can continue to charge it and be able to attack for a lot of damage and knock out one of their 2 prizes. Even if they don't put one of their Roaring Moon EX in the active, we could just target one of their other Pokemon and win this game. Since we already have a boss's orders in our hand, we could just use it for our next turn. So for now, we're just going to use Burning Turbulence, deal 120 damage to this Roaring Moon EX, knocking it out and burning it. But it's already knocked out, so it doesn't really matter. We get 2 prizes, and also our Slitherwing gets 90 damage as well. But what I like about Slitherwing too is it's 140 HP. It can survive an attack, so you can actually block attacks with this if you need to. But yeah, my opponent still has 2 Dark Patch remaining in their deck. There's another one, and they could actually win this game already if they have a boss orders, but no, they're gonna use Professor Sada's Vitality to accelerate an energy to their Roaring Moon EX. That means they can't use boss orders, and they can't use Counter Catcher either, because we are even in the prize exchange. You have to be behind in a prize to use Counter Catcher, but they're going to use Escape Rope, and I'm just going to sacrifice my Gible, since again we're not really going to evolve that one. And they're going to use Calamity Storm, dealing 220 damage, getting another prize. So my opponent's 1 prize away from winning, but we have the energy that we need, and we have boss's orders. All we need to do is just get this Roaring Moon EX in the active spot. We even have Tool Jammer, so that extra HP will just disappear once we put it in the active spot. So really, it has only 100 HP. Hydrolander will finish it off, getting us our last 2 prizes. And you do have to attach at least 1 energy if you have energy in the discard pile. So there it is, guys. That's going to get us our last 2 prizes to win this Roaring Moon EX matchup. Very good game. Alright, on to our next matchup. Again, my opponent wins the coin flip, and they let us go first. Alright, we have Gible available to us. We have Bidoof, and I'll just put Jirachi just in case my opponent has like an escape rope. That way we can just pivot into Jirachi and not have to sacrifice our Bidoof. So I'm just going to attach an energy to our Gible and just end our turn. We have Ultra Ball. On our next turn, we can actually attack with our Garchomp EX. But for now, my opponent's going to start with Galarian Moltres V in their active spot. So this is a Dark type build. If I had to guess, this is going to be a Roaring Moon EX matchup. What else is there in the ladder, right? But my opponent has Battle VIP Pass, so they're thinking of what cards to set up on their bench. 2 basic Pokemon cards from their deck. Alright, Squawkabilly EX and Radiant Greninja. Alright. Very typical of a Roaring Moon EX build, and Earthen Vessel.
discard one card from your hand, draw, or search your deck for 2 basic energy cards. And trekking shoes, okay. Those are good cards to include in this deck, actually. And there's the Roaring Moon EX. Concealed cards. Discard one card or one energy card and draw 2. There goes another Battle VIP pass, and that will complete their board with a Morpeko special art, which is really nice. And they still have to use Squawkabilly. They can still use Squawkabilly EX's ability. Alright, so there's their Dark Patch, putting 1 energy to one of their Roaring Moon EX. There's the switch card so that they can put Morpeko in the active. Again, it has free retreats if it has no energy, so you can just retreat for free. They're still looking for Professor Sada's Vitality, I believe, to accelerate 1 energy, or if they can dig for more Dark Patches, they can actually fully energize their Roaring Moon EX and take a knockout against our Gible here. There's another Dark Patch. Okay, so their setup is coming along. There's the basic energy attachment for turn. And yeah, they can knock out our Gible. But that's very unfortunate, because now we have to set up another one to evolve into Garchomp EX. Alright, Calamity Storm. They don't even need to discard the stadium to get a knockout there. But good thing we have Jirachi to pivot into. And then I'll probably just have to get a Barrel here. Let me just use Pokestop first. Alright, Nest Ball is good. Get our Gible set up here. And then let's see here. Let me attach Tool Jammer. We can definitely use that in this matchup. Put an energy. I'll just sacrifice. I'll just sacrifice these 2. We have more in the deck anyways. That way I can evolve into Barrel. Use Industrious Incisors to draw 4. Then we can use Iono afterwards. Alright, we got Path to the Peak. That's actually going to be helpful here. And we're going to use Iono. Alright. Alright. Pretty strong recovery there, which is pretty nice. We got Hisuian Heavy Ball. Let's check out what's prized. Squovit will be useful. And we got 3 energies in the prizes, dude. We got our Squovit. We can use that definitely. Get Riolu. And then I'm just going to end my turn here. So we have Irida. It's going to be helpful. We can get our rare candy and another water type Pokemon. Well, we already have Garchomp EX, so all we need is the rare candy. Then we can start attacking on our very next turn. So the only downside to this is that my opponent will be ahead 2 prizes already. They already took a knockout last turn, and they can take another knockout this turn. And there it is. They're pretty aggressive, and they discard our Path to the Peak. Yeah, Roaring Moon EX is definitely not one to be trifled with. It is a very strong Pokemon card. We got Rare Candy, dude, look at that. Let's go ahead and evolve into our Garchomp EX. And also into our Lucario. So we don't really need Irida right now. Now let me just use Industrious Incisors. Alright, we got Avery. Cool. So now that forces my opponent to discard their benched Pokemon until they only have 3 left. Squawkabilly is not needed anymore. But at least their other Pokemon is pretty useful. So now they will have a dilemma of choosing which one of those they won't need. And they went for Radiant Greninja. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna start charging up my Lucario here. We have 5 energy cards left in the deck, and that's enough to actually... all we need is 4 cards to get a knockout against a Roaring Moon that has no tool card on it. I'll just sacrifice these 2 and can, let's see, set up another Lucario line. Yeah. That way we can set up our single prize Pokemon, still take knockouts against their Roaring Moon EX. So for now, I'm just going to use Hydro Lander, deal 160 damage to their Roaring Moon EX in the active, and accelerate 1 energy to Lucario. Again, it is actually not optional. If you have cards or energy cards in the discard pile, you have to accelerate at least 1 with Garchomp EX's attack. So now with 160 damage to their active, they can't use the one-hit knockout against our Garchomp EX or instant knockout, because that will knock out their Roaring Moon as well. But they already have another one set up on the bench, so they could use that and easily retreat that, and another Roaring Moon comes into play, and all they need to do is just kind of switch out back and forth to deal an instant knockout if we set up a Garchomp EX. So Frenzied Gouging will knock out our Garchomp EX instantly. That's going to deal 200 damage to their Roaring Moon EX, knocking it out. So we also get 2 prizes from that, although my opponent is now just 2 prizes away from winning this game. But they'll have to contend against our single prize Pokemon here. With one of their Roaring Moons knocked out, we can use Boss's Order to even the field here, and I'm just gonna go with this one with full energy, and thankfully we have 1 energy in our hand, and we can accelerate another one with Roaring Resolve. So with this, we can take a knockout here against their active Roaring Moon EX, take another 2 prizes, and for the meantime I'll just take Palpad, or use Palpad to get another Boss Orders and Avery. And let me recover, we have 3 Garchomps, so I'll recover 2. We could set up another one, which could make a big difference, because that will force them to actually use Frenzied Gouging to take a knockout against it. And again, it is a double-edged sword to use Frenzied Gouging, because it does deal 200 damage to their attacking Pokemon. So we're just gonna take a knockout here. Aura Sphere Volley deals 250 damage to get a knockout, getting us 2 more prizes. Thankfully, they didn't have the ancient energy capsule to add HP. So now we are on an even playing field, because they can't take 2 prizes, but we can, right? Although they are easily charging up their Galarian Moltres V, and with the Forest Seal Stone available to them, they can just get any 1 card from their deck. Professor Satis Vitality, alright. They have 1 more Dark Patch in the deck. Energy Switch, Ancient Energy Booster, and then Morpeko can free retreat here. So now they can attack with Aura Burn with Galarian Moltres, but it does 30 damage to itself. So if we can find a rare candy, 160, 70, 80, 90. Yeah, unless, since they only have 1 Dark Patch left in the deck, I don't think they can actually fully energize their Roaring Moon EX. Right? So even if we evolve into Garchomp EX, We're not knocking out this Galarian Moltres, but it's gonna set it up where we can actually... It can knock itself out if it attacks, right? But let's see if we can find that rare candy. Just thin out my hand here. Get a Lucario so we can evolve. Then... Yeah, they need one more prize here. We need to get this Garchomp EX going. There's an energy. Dude, no. Okay. Industrious Incisor. Alright, we got Irida. Nice. Cool. So let's go and get Garchomp EX, our last rare candy. Then we can evolve into Garchomp EX. So what we can do is just charge up our Lucario. We can attack with Hydro Lander. Put more energies on this Lucario to increase its attack damage output. Right? 2, 3. And yeah, we have boss orders. We can knock out this Galarian Moltres V and even that Mew EX. But it comes down to this, guys. If my opponent has boss's orders... Dude, no! Oh, you know what? That's fine. Even if they attack Lucario, they'll knock it out, but they'll knock themselves out. And that's gonna put us on overtime. Dude. Alright. I'll take it. Yeah, this is crazy, man. It's gonna put us on sudden death. So Galarian Moltres V deals 30 damage to itself, knocking itself out. We also get 2 prizes, and they get 1. And yeah, and sudden death mode. Oh no! This is insane. All right. Well, we did something right. Thankfully, we were able to evolve into that Garchomp EX and get enough damage onto that Galarian Moltres V. So now my opponent gets to decide who goes first, depending on their coin flip. Alright, they got Tails. Did they get it? Who's going first? Probably us. Yes! Oh no! 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 That's the opposite of what you want. And I already got Riolu. So sudden death mode. It all depends on who can take 1 knockout. We all only have 1 prize each. And whoever can take the first knockout wins this game. We have Riolu in the active. There's really not much I could do. Dude, why did you give me such a bad hand? Oh, RNG. This is not good. My opponent has a lot of draw cards. Consistency cards. Trekking shoes. They actually discarded the Professor Sada's Vitality. But it depends on how many energy cards they have in their discard pile. Otherwise, they can't really accelerate. There's 1. So if they have Professor Sada, they can use that to accelerate an energy. And they get Squawkabilly EX. Dude, that's... Oh no! And they also have Luminous Sign. Luminion V that can get them a supporter card from their deck. Come on, man. They get all of that, but look, all we have is a Cheryl. That doesn't really help us much. And a Battle VIP pass. Come on, man. A Mew EX to help them draw more. Radiant Greninja to discard energy. Okay, cool. They whiffed it. I'll go with that. Alright, so let me go ahead and let's see. Let me discard these. Let me discard these 2. We won't use Super Rod to recover anything because once they knock us out, that's game anyways. The thing is, we don't have any other draw Pokemon here, and we really don't have time to set those up. So, just gonna go with Lucario then. and just continue to build up my energy. As of right now, we're dealing 190 damage. Yeah, 190. So we're still 2 energies away from winning this. If we can draw into an energy next turn, if there is a next turn, we might actually win this. But I doubt it, because yeah, my opponent has Mew EX to help them draw extra cards. They got a more Peko though. And they're gonna pass again, dude! Oh, Path to the Peak! That's actually gonna turn off Radiant Greninja and Mew EX. We might have a chance here. Can we win this? There's not much I can do. I can't attack yet. We're still 1 energy shy away from knocking out this Roaring Moon EX in the active because of that Ancient Energy Booster capsule, whatever. Earthen Vessel will get them more energies, but if they have like Professor Sada, oh man, no. Do they have it? There's an energy attachment. Nope. Roaring Resolve will get us our last energy that we need. Now we can deal 300 damage to knock out this Roaring Moon EX. 310 damage will get us the win on this overtime or this sudden death match. That Path to the Week may have helped in this match. So a really close game. Very good game.
And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to smash the like button for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching the Popsicleknight channel, and as always, stay safe and have a great day.